For almost 20 years, Ellen DeGeneres ended every episode of her show the same way, by telling her audience to be kind. It went way past the point of being a catchphrase. It was her identity, her brand, and the foundation of her empire. But there was just one problem. It was all an act. Ellen's charade paid off big time. Her show became the beating heart of daytime television, pulling in over 3 million daily viewers at its peak. If you were an A-list celebrity with something to promote, Ellen was your first stop. If you went viral on the internet, Ellen was calling. If you had a heartwarming story to tell, Ellen's producers were already on the phone. Even if you never sat down to watch a full episode, her clips were everywhere, racking up billions of views across YouTube and social media. You couldn't escape it, and at the center of all the fun, the giving, and the good vibes was one smiling face. Ellen had crafted the perfect persona. She was relatable yet aspirational, funny but never mean, successful but always humble. She danced with her audience, pranked celebrities, and gave away millions to people in need. There was no better role model, and she was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom to prove it. However, her show, her mantra, her entire personality turned out to be one big elaborate lie. 2020 is where it all went wrong for Ellen. Former employees spoke about a toxic workplace built on fear and intimidation. Clips resurfaced of her humiliating guests and audience members, and she got slaughtered online for the way she handled the pandemic. The woman who preached kindness day in and day out got exposed for being nasty and mean-spirited, and there was no going back. Her reputation was destroyed, and recently she fled the US altogether. So how did we let someone so cruel become one of the most powerful figures in entertainment? To understand that, we need to go back to where it all began, before the fame, before the show, and before Be Kind was ever even a thing. Ellen's story starts in the late 1970s, when she first tried her hand at stand-up comedy in Louisiana. It wasn't some childhood dream. She stumbled into it after cycling through jobs as a bartender, a waitress, a house painter, and even a vacuum cleaner saleswoman. Her first attempt at comedy came at a public speaking event at a coffee shop in New Orleans, where she was so nervous she could barely get her words out. But something clicked.
Have you always wanted to do comedy?
No, I really didn't. Until I got on stage, until I was talked into it, because I didn't want to, do it until some friends said, we're having a benefit, we need to raise some money, and I don't even know what the benefit was for. It was like, I think somebody needed a new pair of jeans or something at the time. And I went on stage, and I don't even know what I did, but it was funny at the time. I loved it. It was just the greatest feeling, and it just fell in my lap.
She continued performing anywhere that would have her, and by 1981, she managed to become an MC at Clyde's Comedy Club. Her material wasn't edgy or political. It was just honest observations about everyday life that people could relate to. Word spread about this quirky blonde comedian from Louisiana, and by 1984, she was touring nationally. Showtime even crowned her the funniest person in America that year, which gave a major boost to her career.
Hi, I'm Ellen DeGeneres, the funniest person in America. We're out here in the Texas Panhandle right now, searching for next year's winner.
By 1986, Ellen had landed a coveted spot on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, joining the ranks of up-and-coming comedians making their mark on late-night television.
I've been keeping in shape lately, You have to. I'm getting older. I'm 27. People say, you don't look 27. You look like you're about 23. I'm lucky because that runs in my family. My grandmother is 97. She looks about 93. That whole fitness thing runs in my family, though, I think. My grandmother started walking 5 miles a day when she was 60. She's 97 today, and we don't know where the hell she is.
The Tonight Show opened new doors. She began appearing regularly on cable specials and late-night shows, building her reputation as a reliable performer with clean, accessible humor. By 1989, she'd caught the attention of Fox, who cast her in a new sitcom called Open House. The show lasted 2 seasons, with Ellen playing a wisecracking receptionist at a real estate office. It wasn't a hit, but it gave her valuable experience in front of the camera. In 1992, ABC gave her another shot with Lauryn Hill, where she played an eccentric nurse. The show was cancelled after just 4 episodes, but ABC executives saw something in Ellen. They liked her enough to develop a new series built entirely around her comedic persona. The show premiered in 1994 under the title These Friends of Mine, following Ellen as a neurotic bookstore owner in LA. By season 2, the network had renamed it simply Ellen, signaling their confidence in their new star. The gamble paid off. The show found its audience, settling into a comfortable groove in ABC's primetime lineup. For 3 seasons, the show played it safe. It followed familiar sitcom beats, relationship mishaps, workplace humor, and friend group dynamics. But behind the scenes, Ellen was wrestling with a secret that was becoming increasingly difficult to keep. In 1996, she made a decision that would put her entire career on the line. She was going to come out.
I didn't even realize the internal homophobia and the shame that I was still dealing with. I thought, if I just say the words, I'm gay, if I just do that, that's going to be enough.
Ellen pitched the idea of her character on the show coming out as well to ABC. Executives were divided, with some supporting the move and others being strongly opposed, but eventually she got the green light. The episode was titled The Puppy Episode, which was a codename they used to keep it secret during production, but the news ended up getting out anyway. At the time, gay characters on television were almost non-existent, and the idea of a show's main character being openly gay was unthinkable, so unsurprisingly, there was a lot of backlash. Various sponsors, including JCPenney, Johnson & Johnson, and Chrysler, decided not to buy advertising time during that episode. A few weeks before it aired, Ellen appeared on the cover of Times magazine with the words, "Yep, I'm gay," written in big, bold letters. Despite the resistance it faced, 42 million Americans tuned in to see the episode, which was a record for the show. And ultimately, it won an Emmy Award for Outstanding Writing for a Comedy Series.
I mean, why can't I just say the truth? I mean, be who I am. I'm 35 years old. I'm so afraid to tell people. I mean, Susan, I'm gay.
Ellen also appeared on the Oprah Winfrey Show with her then partner Anne Heche.
Why was it necessary for you to come out, tell the public? Why was it necessary for the character to do so?
Because it's okay. Because it is okay.
ABC renewed the show for a 5th season, which starred a newly confident Ellen as she went out on dates, found a serious girlfriend, and enjoyed her life as an out gay woman. However, the network slapped a parental advisory warning at the beginning of each episode, despite the fact that the comedy was still gentle. To make matters worse, the show was widely criticized for being too gay, even by people within the LGBT community. Religious groups protested, critics fired insults, and worst of all, the show received a bomb threat. Ratings plummeted as the season progressed until the program was cancelled altogether. After this, Hollywood turned its back on Ellen. The woman who'd made television history found herself struggling to get work. She attempted to launch another sitcom, but networks weren't interested. The few auditions she got were bit parts that seemed designed to mock her sexuality rather than celebrate it. Her relationship with actress Anne Heche, which had been groundbreaking as one of the first openly gay celebrity couples, began to crumble under the spotlight. After 3.5 years together, Heche left Ellen in 2000.
You broke up with her because she had a lot of money, or you broke up with her because...
I broke up with her because her goal was to have a lot of money, and mine was to find love, and hers was I want 60 billion. Good luck. Our forks are never going to meet.
With everything falling apart around her, Ellen tried to return to her roots with a stand-up special called The Beginning. The title was meant to symbolize a fresh start, but the special failed to reignite her career. In 2001, she finally managed to get a new sitcom which aired on CBS, but it only lasted for 13 episodes before it was cancelled. However, just when it seemed like Hollywood had written her off completely, an unexpected opportunity changed everything. In 2003, Pixar cast her as Dory, a forgetful blue tangfish in Finding Nemo. The role perfectly suited Ellen's comedic timing and quirky delivery. The film was a massive hit, grossing over $870 million worldwide, and suddenly Ellen was back in the public's good graces. That same year, she launched what would go on to become her empire, The Ellen DeGeneres Show.
It's September 8th. This is our very first show, and you are my very first audience.
The format was simple but effective. While other talk shows chased scandal and controversy, Ellen offered something different, pure, uncomplicated fun. She danced with her audience, played games with celebrities, and promoted feel-good stories that made people smile. The show was an instant hit. Ellen had found the perfect balance between celebrity interviews and touching human stories. A-list celebrities felt comfortable on her couch knowing they wouldn't face difficult questions, and regular people came on to share their viral videos or inspiring stories, usually leaving with life-changing gifts. The giving became a cornerstone of the show, whether it was cars for struggling families, college tuition for deserving students, or houses for heroes. Ellen became known as television's most generous host. Her catchphrase, "Be kind to one another," wasn't just words. She seemed to be living it every single day.
And the Emmy goes to The Ellen DeGeneres Show.
The accolades poured in. By 2010, the show was winning Emmy Awards year after year. Ellen had successfully transformed herself from a controversial figure into America's daytime sweetheart. But beneath this carefully crafted image of kindness and generosity, cracks were starting to form. The most concerning example came in 2008. Rumors were circulating that Mariah Carey was pregnant, and when Ellen had her on the show, she turned the interview into a manipulative game. She brought out champagne, trying to force Mariah to either drink, revealing she wasn't pregnant, or refuse and confirm that she was. Mariah was visibly uncomfortable and tried to dodge the situation, but Ellen wouldn't take no for an answer.
The other thing is that people are saying that that you're pregnant. There's rumors.
Don't discuss that.
All right. Well, you don't have to.
No, that's okay. No, honestly,
you
how
don't
do
have to answer me. Let's just toast with champagne and decide.
This is peer pressure. You see what Ellen is doing? This is peer pressure.
No. Let's toast to you not being pregnant. If you're not pregnant, then we should.
Oh my goodness. It's too early for me.
Yeah.
I only drink it after 3 p.m.
Yeah. You're pregnant. You're pregnant.
No,
you
I
are
didn't
pregnant.
say that. No.
Mariah has since admitted that this interview made her feel extremely uncomfortable. She was in fact pregnant at the time, but chose to keep the news to herself because she'd previously suffered a miscarriage. Sadly, shortly after Mariah's appearance on the show, her worst nightmare came true because she miscarried again. Ellen's habit of pressuring her guests to get the inside scoop led to another infamous moment a few years later, this time with Taylor Swift. Taylor was on the show to promote her new album, but Ellen was far more interested in interrogating her about her love life.
You were here with your boyfriend Zac Efron last time. How's he doing?
We actually never dated.
Yes, you did. So when y'all were here, but obviously late nights y'all are spending together, y'all wrote that song for me. When you're touring, will that song be on stage?
I'll have to call Zac. Get the rights to it.
Well, you probably talked to him earlier today. How's he doing?
I don't know. I haven't talked to him in a while because we didn't date.
Yes, you did. Why do you deny it?
Because we didn't.
Oh, okay. Which song is about Zac on the new CD?
There's nothing really about Zac on the CD because we didn't date.
All right.
So, yeah.
Okay.
At this point, the interview was already pretty uncomfortable. Ellen had an agenda she wanted to push, and nothing Taylor could say would change that. Later, Ellen forced Taylor into playing a game where she'd show pictures of different male celebrities on screen, and Taylor would have to ring a bell if she dated them.
All right,
we didn't date.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. That's ridiculous to show Zac. They never did date. Okay. Hold it like you're gonna ring it at some point. Okay. All right. Danny DeVito, did y'all date?
You know I can't talk about that.
All right. All right, John.
What do I don't know what I'm.
You're supposed to ring.
But I don't want to. I don't want to.
All right, I'll ring.
Because they'll send me angry emails, and I don't want to get them.
I'll hold it for you.
What are you doing to me? This is me. Stop it!
Okay, all right.
She's on the brink of tears and everyone is laughing, and Ellen is ignoring all her requests to stop. This was brutal to watch. You can tell they didn't have that in the pre-interview. Poor Taylor. Over the years that followed, there were many moments where Ellen's mask slipped. There was the interview with Hassan Minhaj, where she mispronounced his name, then insisted that she'd got it right.
And it's Hassan Minhaj. Yes.
No.
Really?
Well, my name is Hassan Minhaj.
Oh.
There was the interview with Katy Perry, where she completely forgot that Katy had been married to Russell Brand, despite having given her a wedding gift in a previous episode of the show.
You were not married.
I was when I was 25.
Were you?
Yeah, it's been a long time, honey.
To who?
No wrinkles, no lines.
To who?
His name was Russell Brand.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about Russell. Yeah.
Remember, you gave me some wedding gifts on this show.
Yes, I do.
Cool.
Yeah.
There was a time she had a go at Celine Dion for not cutting her son's hair.
I'm not too much into politics stuff.
All right, well, it seems like you're busy with something because you're forgetting to cut your son's hair. Look at him. He is beautiful, but look at his hair. When are you going to cut that hair?
There were also the numerous interviews with Sofia Vergara, where she'd repeatedly mock her accent.
Do you get gifts?
I get gifts.
Yeah, what kind of gifts do you get? Can you get rid of the accent?
No, I can't. I've tried and I'm too old already.
I mean, literally, you've been on this show for 10 years and your accent has gotten worse. How is that possible?
None of this was okay, but Ellen's guests would generally give her a pass. Most people tend to avoid confrontation, and even more so when there are cameras rolling. However, there was one guest who refused to put up with Ellen's shit, Dakota Johnson. On a 2019 episode of the show, Ellen fired a jab at Dakota for not inviting her to her birthday party, but it turns out she did.
You turned 30.
I did.
And how was the party? I wasn't invited.
Actually, no, that's not the truth, Ellen. You were invited. Last time I was on the show, last year, you gave me a bunch of shit about not inviting you, but I didn't even know you wanted to be invited. But I did invite you and you didn't come, so.
This time you invited me?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
How do you know? I don't think so.
Ask everybody. Ask Jonathan, your producer. Who said you were?
I was invited?
Right.
Why didn't I go?
I don't know.
Was it? Oh yeah, I had that thing.
These types of uncomfortable moments didn't just take place with celebrities. For example, in one segment from the same year, Ellen mocked and degraded a translator who was helping her interview a young Chinese-speaking guest, turning what should have been a pleasant moment into an exercise in public humiliation.
I think you'd be good at everything because you play the ukulele and then now you're playing electric guitar, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What else do you want to learn?
你现在在学怎么弹电子吉他，你还想再学？
Just one question. Just what else does he want? I don't know what you're telling him, but just ask him what I'm saying.
Okay, sorry. 你现在还想学什么？现在
See, that was that short.
After this, the translator got flustered and lost her composure, but Ellen just wouldn't give her a break.
学 fingerstyle 的木吉他。So a fingerstyle guitar, besides electric guitar.
A fingerstyle? What's a fingerstyle? Oh, acoustic. Well, don't just ask him. Don't look at me and go, I don't know. We're not having a conversation. I'm asking him, what is a fingerstyle?
Acoustic.
You don't know that. Ask him.
Okay. 你现在弹的是 fingerstyle， 你知道是什么？我知道 fingerstyle 是什么，就是。Well, he knows what a fingerstyle is.
But we don't.
那你能不能给我们解释一下是什么？就是会，就弹一些演奏曲子，就是只单。
Never mind. Okay. I've lost interest.
You've got a feel for that translator. She was clearly very nervous. Ellen's mean streak extended to her audience members too. In one particularly cruel segment, she set up a free merchandise table with hidden cameras, instructing audience members to take only one item each. When one woman took an extra item, Ellen played the footage to the entire audience, then publicly shamed her.
Then she goes back and she returns one of her stolen items and she switches it out for a hat. Hello. What's your name?
My sister couldn't come, so that was her souvenir.
Yeah.
Sorry.
A lot of people's sisters couldn't come. Look, I like that you like the product so much that you wanted to bring one back for your sister. But now when you go like to Costco or you're the kind of person like when you go trick-or-treating and nobody's home, you don't just take you take the bowl, you just walk away.
She proceeded to force the woman to sit in what she called Ellen Jail, a makeshift prison on stage.
Let that be a lesson to you, because you think
it is.
You think nobody's watching you, and you just need to be a good person just because you want to be a good person. You go sit in that Ellen Jail over there right now. No, you'll steal stuff back there. Come here, this way. What's your sister's name?
Anna.
All right, well, Anna got you in big trouble.
Crime doesn't fit the punishment. She shouldn't be humiliated on national TV in front of millions for stealing a $5 free hat. Another worrying encounter happened between Ellen and the famous YouTuber Nikki Tutorials. Nikki appeared on the show in January 2020, and she was excited to share her story of coming out as transgender. But behind the scenes, she experienced a very different Ellen to what she expected. Apparently, Ellen was very icy towards her and didn't give her access to the same facilities she gave her other guests. Upon returning back to her home country of the Netherlands, Nikki went on a talk show where she called Ellen out.
Hoe was het bij Ellen DeGeneres?
Nou, laat ik zeggen dat er een groot verschil is tussen De Wereld Draait Door en Ellen. En dan geef ik jullie het positieve handje.
Want?
Oh, punt.
Nou, daar wil ik meer weten.
Nou ja, er zijn bepaalde... Kijk, bijvoorbeeld, het is wel heel leuk dat jij wel vooraf hallo komt zeggen en zo. Het is bij Ellen in ieder geval, het is wat ik heb meegemaakt hier en andere landen, is dat gewoon een hele andere wereld. Het zit gewoon iets anders.
Afstandelijke killer.
Tikje. Het is wel echt dat ik zo'n podium mocht betreden, is natuurlijk de grootste eer, laat ik dat voorop stellen. Maar het is wel een andere wereld. Eurovisie.
Before things really took a turn for the worst, Ellen found herself in a controversy with her own community. In 2019, she was spotted laughing with George W. Bush at a football game, the former US president who actively fought against gay rights and launched a devastating war in Iraq. When fans expressed outrage, Ellen dismissed their concerns, saying everyone should be kind to one another regardless of their beliefs. The woman who had once lost everything for being gay appeared to be more interested in protecting the elite than standing by her own community.
Here's the thing, I'm friends with George Bush. In fact, I'm friends with a lot of people who don't share the same beliefs that I have. But just because I don't agree with someone on everything doesn't mean that I'm not going to be friends with them. When I say be kind to one another, I don't mean only the people that think the same way that you do. I mean be kind to everyone.
It's no surprise Ellen fell back on her catchphrase here. At that point in her career, she'd pretty much hard-coded herself to use it at every opportunity, whether it was to bat away controversy like this, or to maintain or bolster her all-giving image. But little did she know that her very own words were about to be weaponized against her. In March 2020, comedian Kevin T. Porter made a tweet about Ellen saying this: "Right now, we all need a little kindness. You know, like Ellen DeGeneres always talks about. She's also notoriously one of the meanest people alive. Respond to this with the most insane stories you've heard about Ellen being mean, and I'll match everyone with $2 to LA Food Bank." The tweet went viral as hundreds of people began sharing their experiences with Ellen. Former employees, service workers, and entertainment industry professionals all had stories to tell, and they painted a very different picture of the woman Americans had welcomed into their homes for nearly 2 decades. Working for her, I was instructed that I can't look her in the eye and never ever say hi to her first. But don't worry, she definitely won't be saying hi to you in the first place. She creates the most toxic environment for her staff. When I was 15, The Ellen Show was doing a contest of fans making a bust of her and sending it to her. I worked so hard on this and even wrote her a letter. Weeks later, she used it as a prop in a game and gave it away to a random person with $500 attached to the bottom. One commenter named Chris Farah went so far as to do an interview in person to talk about her horrible experience.
This former waitress claims she was threatened with a 2-week suspension after Ellen DeGeneres complained about, of all things, her chipped fingernail polish.
I remember just being like, really?
Farah says her boss got an email from the talk show queen.
They were like, we have to talk to you. She emailed the owner of the restaurant and complained about your chipped nail polish.
What?
And I was like, what?
This really didn't look good, but the real trouble for Ellen was just beginning. As the pandemic forced her show to film from home, Ellen seemed increasingly out of touch with reality. In one tone-deaf monologue, she compared quarantining in her $27 million mansion to being in jail, angering viewers who are struggling through lockdown in far less comfortable circumstances.
One thing that I've learned from being in quarantine is that people this is like being in jail, is what it is. It's mostly because I've been wearing the same clothes for 10 days and everyone in here is gay. The jokes that I have.
To make matters worse, she came under fire for how she treated her staff during lockdown. Workers on the show were left in the dark about their pay and working conditions for weeks, only to be told their salaries would be cut by 60% despite the show continuing production from Ellen's home. Meanwhile, other talk show hosts were handling the pandemic very differently. Jimmy Kimmel personally paid his crew's salaries during lockdown. Conan O'Brien also paid his staff's wages out of his own pocket. Even Ellen's daytime TV rival Kelly Clarkson covered all her staff's pay while they produced her show from home. This was when even Ellen's biggest supporters had to take a step back and question if she really was who she said she was. I mean, how kind can you really be if you're willing to leave your team out to dry while you continue banking checks from home? In July 2020, BuzzFeed published an expose that pulled the curtain back on what was really going on at The Ellen Show. 11 former employees spoke about a toxic workplace environment built on fear and intimidation. They said they were fired after taking medical leave or bereavement days to attend family funerals, and were instructed by their direct managers not to speak to Ellen if they saw her around the office. A black employee described facing racist comments and microaggressions, saying that when she was hired, a senior level producer told her and another black employee, "Oh, "Oh wow, you both have box braids. I hope we don't get you confused." And at a work party, she said one of the main writers told her, "I'm sorry, I only know the names of the white people who work here." And other co-workers awkwardly laughed it off instead of coming to her defense. When she started to speak up about the discrimination, she said all of her colleagues distanced themselves from her. All of the employees said they worked in a culture dominated by fear. One of them said a general feeling among staffers was if you have an issue, don't even think about bringing it up. The stories painted a picture of a workplace where kindness was preached but never practiced, and one employee outright said that be kind bullshit only happens when the cameras are on. It's all for show. After this report came out, the former DJ for the show spoke out saying he felt the toxicity of the work environment. Hedda Muscat, a former producer for the show, also spoke out in an interview.
This TV producer is speaking out on camera for the first time about what it was like working for Ellen DeGeneres.
Toxic, phony, hypocrite, liar. That's what she is.
She corroborated many of the things the former employees said.
We were told from the very beginning, don't talk to Ellen, don't do this, you can't go into her office. It was very nerve-wracking, very stressful. We all walked on eggshells all the time. As a host, she's amazing, as a host. But as a boss and someone who's behind the scenes running the show, she's a different person. She's not the person people see in front of the camera.
Do you think anything will change?
No, because she should have apologized 16 years ago. This environment, this toxic culture that she created in the office has been going on for 16 years.
Another woman, Dana DiMatteo, also came forward about her horrible experience after being selected from the audience to participate in the show.
You just expect a lot when you go to meet like your idol, and then when you get disappointed, it's like such a letdown. They tell you, you can't be smarter, funnier than Ellen. She's the comedian and the star, not you.
How does the Ellen we see on TV compare to the Ellen you saw when the camera stopped rolling?
Totally different. She would only speak to the audience when the cameras were rolling. As soon as they turned the cameras off, she would not even acknowledge the audience. She would just sit on the couch, basically. Even when she exited, she just said what she had to say on camera and then walked off.
This was the common theme. Ellen would do the absolute bare minimum to keep the show running and let producers deal with the rest, giving them free reign to treat staff however the hell they wanted. According to Hedda, Ed Glavin was the producer in charge of carrying out Ellen's dirty work.
We were in our production meetings and she would watch Ed go off on people. Ellen would look at Ed and she would laugh, because I was hoping she was going to say, Ed, you can't be yelling at crew this way. You can't be yelling at people this way. She laughed and she said, every production needs their dog.
Meaning
Ed is her dog.
Like her attack dog.
Her attack dog, so therefore she doesn't need to do that. He took the role of being the attack dog, that she didn't have to now be the attack dog, so she didn't have to yell.
So when Ellen says she's not aware of this environment, you don't think that rings true?
It's a lie.
It turns out Glavin had been up to a lot worse than just yelling at the crew. In a follow-up report by BuzzFeed, it was revealed that 3 of the show's executive producers, Ed Glavin, Kevin Lehman, and Jonathan Norman, had been engaged in rampant sexual misconduct. Glavin was accused by multiple employees of touching them inappropriately. They said that he had a reputation for being handsy with women, especially in the control room. You could definitely see the creep factor and the creepy touching. That was out in the open for everybody to see. In all, 47 former employees who spoke to BuzzFeed News said Glavin led with intimidation and fear on a daily basis. One former employee said when they turned in their notice, Glavin flipped over a table and chair while screaming. Then there was Kevin Lehman, who according to one ex-employee, asked him if he could give him a handjob or perform oral sex in a bathroom at a company party in 2013. Another said they separately saw Lehman grab a production assistant's penis. It was said he also had a reputation for making sexually explicit comments in the office, like pointing out male colleagues' bulges in their crotches, or asking them questions like, are you a top or a bottom? Many of his targets were lower level and younger employees who felt they lacked any power to speak up, and anything questionable he did was just brushed away as Kevin being Kevin. The allegations against co-executive producer Jonathan Norman were equally disturbing. Reportedly, he groomed a former employee over a period of time by taking them to concerts and other work-related perks, and then one night attempted to perform oral sex on him. The allegations were serious enough that Warner Brothers launched an internal investigation into the show. Ellen's facade of kindness was crumbling before her eyes, as her employees had exposed her as at best complicit in workplace abuse, and at worst actively contributing to it. As the scandal grew, celebrities rushed to take sides. Steve Harvey, Kevin Hart, and Ashton Kutcher all defended defended Ellen publicly, but others like Brad Garrett and Leah Thompson supported the employees, saying Ellen's behavior was a well-known secret in Hollywood. In response to the allegations, Ellen wrote a letter to her employees saying, "Hey everybody, it's Ellen. On day one of our show, I told everyone in our first meeting that the Ellen DeGeneres show would be a place of happiness. No one would ever raise their voice, and everyone would be treated with respect. Obviously something changed, and I'm disappointed to learn this has not been the case, and for that I'm sorry. Anyone who knows me knows it's the opposite of what I believe and what I hoped for our show." Soon after, Warner Brothers concluded their investigation, firing the 3 executive producers that were accused of sexual misconduct. The following month, The Ellen Show returned for its 18th season. As she did at the start of every new season, Ellen gave an opening monologue, but unlike the usual upbeat style they had, this one was far more serious.
As you may have heard, this summer there were allegations of a toxic work environment at our show. And then there was an investigation. I learned that things happened here that never should have happened. I take that very seriously, and I want to say I am so sorry to the people who were affected. I know that I'm in a position of privilege and power, and I realize that with that comes responsibility, and I take responsibility for what happens at my show. There were also articles in the press and on social media that said that I am not who I appear to be on TV because I became known as the Be Kind lady. The truth is, I am that person that you see on TV. I am also a lot of other things. Sometimes I get sad, I get mad, I get anxious, I get frustrated, I get impatient, and I am working on all of that. I am a work in progress, and my intention is to always be the best person I can be. And if I've ever let someone down, if I've ever hurt their feelings, I am so sorry for that.
The reaction to this was very negative, as people really weren't buying what Ellen was saying. I don't like apologies that include "if I hurt you," "if I offended you." "If" is not taking responsibility. She's acting like the toxic work environment had nothing to do with her, while it's actually because of her. Despite Ellen's best efforts at salvaging her reputation, the damage was done. Ratings for her show plummeted by more than 40% compared to the previous year. Major celebrities began declining appearances, and ahead of the 19th season, after over 3,000 episodes had aired, Ellen announced her show would be coming to an end. She insisted the decision had nothing to do with the allegations, claiming the show was just not a challenge anymore.
The ratings are down for this show. They're down for every talk show.
Right.
To be fair.
Yep.
But more for this one. Mm-hmm. Does that factor into any of this decision?
It's more for this one because we had further to fall, and everybody else was at a lower place, so they didn't have as far to fall. To be honest, I mean, that's the truth. We were very, very successful.
This sounded like Ellen was just coping and unwilling to accept reality. It became clear how hollow her previous apologies really were when she suggested she'd been a victim of a coordinated attack, calling the allegations orchestrated and misogynistic.
Did you feel like you were being canceled?
I mean, I really didn't understand it. I still don't understand it. I thought something was going on that because it was too orchestrated, it was too coordinated. And also, I have to say, if nobody else is saying it, it was really interesting because I'm a woman, and it did feel very misogynistic. It felt like I am a boss, I have a very successful show, I'd never had any complaints about anything for 17 years, and all of a sudden, all at once, something happened. So it did feel, it was
sexist?
Yeah.
After 19 seasons, The Ellen Show ended with little fanfare. For the next 2 years, Ellen largely disappeared from public life, up until September 2024, when she returned with a Netflix special titled Ellen DeGeneres For Your Approval.
Oh yeah, I got kicked out of show business. Yeah, because I'm mean. Yeah, you can't be mean and be in show business. No, they'll kick you out. Yeah, the Be Kind girl wasn't kind. That was the headline. Here's the problem. I'm a comedian who got a talk show, and I ended the show every day by saying, be kind to one another. Had I ended my show by saying, go fuck yourselves.
She completely backtracked on everything she said in season 18's opening monologue about taking accountability.
I know that I'm in a position of privilege and power, and I realize that with that comes responsibility, and I take responsibility for what happens at my show. This is the Ellen DeGeneres Show. I am Ellen DeGeneres. My name is there. My name is there. My name is on underwear. I mean, it looked like I was the boss. The show was called Ellen, and everybody was wearing T-shirts that said Ellen, and there were buildings all over the Warner Brothers lot that said Ellen, and
but I don't think that meant that I should be in charge.
The special flopped spectacularly, getting a measly 5.2 rating on IMDb and a 33% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it very much looked like the dying breath of Ellen's decades-long career. Following its release, Ellen somehow found herself in yet another controversy, as allegations against P. Diddy began making headlines. An old tweet of Ellen's from 2016 resurfaced. "Happy birthday P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs, or as I call him, Cuddle McSnugglestuff. You don't need to know why." This raised a lot of eyebrows, and the fact Ellen had invited Diddy on her show in 2020 to surprise a bunch of kids really didn't help with the optics. As speculation grew about high-profile figures who might be named in the expanding investigation, Ellen and her partner Portia suddenly relocated to the UK. While they cited Trump's re-election as their reason for leaving, many questioned the convenient timing of their departure. Ultimately, any connection with Diddy remains purely speculative. Ellen's shattered reputation in America may have been reason enough for her to leave. For 20 years, she sold everybody a lie. She convinced the world she was a beacon of kindness, building an empire worth hundreds of millions by telling people to be kind, and all the while doing the opposite. When her mask finally slipped, it revealed someone who treated kindness like a commodity, something to be bought, sold, and discarded when the camera stopped rolling. In the end, Ellen's greatest trick wasn't making us believe in kindness, it was making us believe in her.